Clean all the impurities. Remove all that no longer serves us. Open our eyes to you, your wisdom, your amazingness. It's all is you, all is him. And we can't forget that. And we never want to forget that. Release all impurities, all that's not serving us. It's gone. Boom. Just like that. You ask and you shall receive. It's gone. It's gone. Ah, he's so merciful. He's so merciful to us. To me. To me. When you see yourself clearly, it's just like, whoa. I'm a servant of the Lord. He's allowed me to serve him. He chose me to serve him. He woke me up. He saved me from this misery and allowed me to be within his grace. And I'm so grateful. I started shedding layers last night. I felt a lot on my spirit. So I started getting rid of things that no longer serves, and purification of this as well. Get rid of all that does not serve. You know, we got to 1 million subscribers, and I know we did with your assistance. Thank you so much. All I hear is like Harry Potter music in the background. Dun, 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 dun. Haribo? Haribo, Haribo. Release. I just start this day with expressing gratitude. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here, to be now, to be within your presence, to be within your grace. I'm so grateful to receive all messages that you have for me today, for us today. Thank you so much for allowing us to ground within your essence, to ground within your truth, to ground, to hear your words. Thank you so much for allowing us to surrender unto you, to humble ourselves, to see that we are still your children and we will always be your children, and there is no changing that. I ground down into the truth that you are my roots. You are the most strongest root that I have. I pray to you that that root becomes even stronger for us. I pray, I pray, I pray. I pray that we all ground down into our truth. Our truth. And where's the key? It's a little loud, so I'm gonna. There we go. Hope you can hear me now. But pray we can all ground down into our truth, and to his truth, and to his will, and to follow it, to match it accordingly. I'm gonna go grab, well, I had to wash clothes today, so that's one thing I'm doing. How are you? How is everyone? My mind is kind of all, well, this mind is kind of all over the place because I'm coming from the gym, and the gym is telling me to not work out as hard as I used to, and I'm learning how to not to do more light weights and heavy weights and more reps. I pray. Welcome back, welcome back. I am so grateful to always hear his truth and allow his truth to flow through me, and to accept and receive within my heart with love and gratitude, and with so much immense gratitude, because when you are a monk in practice, you constantly remind yourself that you're nothing, and constantly hearing that for the weakened ego can really, it can hurt, but for the strengthened ego, then you shall realize that you are nothing, and it humbles you as a child. And humility and kindness and nurture and health. And thanks for liking the video. Yeah, I'm so grateful to ground down into health. I pray that is health good for us all, everyone that's watching this. I am gonna do a little reading today. I think it's just our daily reading session now for these lives. But how are you? I hope your family is healthy and well. I hope today brings you a lot of prosperity, a lot of great health. I pray that none of us move in a lack consciousness, lack mindset, and know that everything is for us and that we have everything. You know, me and this nose has been going through it for some time now, and I'm learning to accept the Lord's will, to see how He uses His body to display messages. And I've just been wiggling this little nose like a little rabbit for, I think, a week thus far, and grounding into love, grounding into His essence. I express my gratitude. Do you work out? The gym was amazing. It's time for transformation. It's time to release layers and step into the new. A new year is coming, and my birthday is on January 2nd. So I am a little understanding that being 27 is going to uplift me in ways that I never expected. But since I did have a very heavy session, I'm going to go grab some breakfast, and I think I'm gonna head to Safeway, get some nutrient in this body that I cherish because it's His. And I'm gonna go on a rant about being a woman and what being a woman truly means in the eyes of religion. For these past 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, living in a monastery and fully covering ourselves and protecting ourselves as women has really opened my eyes to a beautiful perspective of how feminine the divine feminine temple is, and how gentle it is, and how cherishable it is. Being a nun and monk in practice was an amazing experience, and still is an amazing experience, but not so much into it now because of things I've done in the past. But I am grateful to have that experience where this woman body that I've been given in this lifetime is very sacred, and that's every woman's body, not on a physical level, but deep on a spiritual and soul level, where protecting myself and fully covering myself. Hey, everyone here, take the time to subscribe right now, because this word I'm about to spill right now, you don't want to miss it. So go subscribe and check out all the videos. But living in a monastery as a monk, as a nun in practice, has really opened my eyes to the sacredness of this vessel and of this form, this woman that I've been given and that I am. So much that you really want to surround yourself around people who also see you in that same light and will also cherish you as well. Yeah, I lived in a monastery for almost 3 years. Hello, please subscribe. Hey Snake, nice to meet ya. My videos are all about spirituality and how you can become a better person spiritually. So please subscribe, check it out. You don't want to miss any of these videos because you're going to become a whole different person by the end of it. Living for almost 3 years, there you become a monk or you think you're a man. No, I'm a woman, but also I'm not this body. You're not that body either. You're not the thoughts that you have, and you're not even the comments that you make. Everything is by His grace. So when you, oh, okay, you change the word. I'm gonna say, well, man is interesting. Yeah, I practiced for some years. So, who is grace? Uh, Supreme. Supreme is grace. Everything that we do, everything that we consume, even our own breath, is His. So when you learn how to be grateful for every single thing in life, even your own dying breath, then you learn how to accept, yeah, a higher power. A lot of us has fallen, and that's why I was speaking about this being a woman and having this woman body in this lifetime is very sacred because the temple that we hold holds a lot of power, holds a lot of sensuality, holds a lot of sensitivity in ways. The woman is a flower, like literally it's a flower. And when, do you know Jesus? I know God. And God's amazing, and God's within Jesus. So I wonder if you know Him. I pray to Krishna, but I love God. So when you fully love God, then you like light. And the light within us all is what I accept. So the light within me sees the light within you. God is God. Once you open your eyes to that concept, then you just love everyone for who they are. You love everyone. Because once you do this is a universal symbol that we all do. I also have this keychain. Because He's amazing. And when you live in a monastery and you make your entire 24 hours of the day about Him, then it's just like you leave the monastery and you leave with that same concept that there's nothing but Him, and you don't want to be deluded in this illusionary world in Maya and to fall into the material energies, the material modes that fully affect and contaminate our minds to a point that we lose track of Him. Big Snake Bone, do monks have relationships? Like, do you have date night? You're funny. They actually do. So some monks wear orange. When monks wear orange, then they are fully celibate. There is no such thing as a relationship. It's only them and God. When monks wear white, they are actually proclaiming that they still want to get married and they still want to have a family and they still want to be a part of the material world in a sense, but have that relationship in order to serve God. So there is no separation between this temple and this vessel and God. So if you choose to procreate as a monk, then that child is a child of God. Frank A. Gular 6860. You asked the same question twice. And when you open your mind to Krishna consciousness, and I've been on many different realms of practice. So I was born into this world Christian, and then I went atheist to figure out who I was, and then I was Islamic at one point. Now I practice Buddhism after, and then I went into the sector of Hinduism. So, do monks teach the Garden of Eden? No. The Garden of Eden is very earthly thing. And when you interpret the Bible is very heaven and earth. And when you go into different sectors of spirituality, it opens your mind to not just the heaven and earthly realms, but the infinite universes that are within ourselves. So when you open your mind that there are infinite amount of gods and there are infinite amount of names that he uses, then you start seeing reality as it is, that there's more than just this vessel, there's more than just, this mind full of ignorance, full of closedness. There's no boxes, there's no separation. It's fully a different experience when you fully open yourself to the light. And to the light is so infinite that it breaks you. It breaks you so much that you don't want to keep going with this illusion that you are this body, that you are this mind. And when it's time to go, you fully will be free of the idea that death is something that is scary, because it's something that you've been practicing for years as a monk. Uppercase and lowercase. So Frank A. Goulart, 6860, there is only one true living God. There are many lowercase gods. So, in Hindu culture, there is a supreme lord and there's demigods. And the demigods sometimes likes to play tricks on the supreme lord because they think that they're God, until supreme has to humble them and tell them, hey, no, you think that you're God, but I'm the one that actually created you. So there's Shiva, and there's Brahma, and there's Krishna, Vishnu. And it's so funny when Shiva thinks that he's God, or Brahma thinks that he's God, or even King Indra, the king of heaven in Hinduism, think that he's God, because you could see their ego take over them so much that they play tricks on the Supreme Lord, and he plays tricks back with them. That's how humble and funny Krishna and Vishnu is in the Bhagavad Gita, sacred text. But yeah, Hinduism and different spiritual practices are very funny when you open up to the stories that they all have. Frank Goulart, 6860, you were a Christian? I was raised Christian, but I didn't resonate with it. Maybe because in different lifetimes, I practiced literally everything, to a point when coming in this lifetime, I felt like I was forced into something that, many of us are. Many of us are forced into things that we are totally ignorant and unaware of, that we continue going on with it until adulthood, and we don't give ourselves a space to open up to different aspects or even question who we are. And I had my eyes open as a child to where this isn't me, and I want to get to a point of actually who am I and what do I like and what do I accept. And I got to a point where I accepted all gods and God in general, because when you see that light is light, then you create a very united force, to a point where it's not light versus light versus light versus light. It's not God versus God versus God versus God, but it's light versus dark. Now, that's one thing that we get totally incorrect, is when we start comparing light versus light, and now we're fighting each other, and we're allowing darkness to win. In the Bhagavad Gita, we're currently in Kali Yuga, where this is the most darkest era that we are ever in. And if we unite together, then, there's no stopping us. But because we've been put into a world, it's Kali Yuga, where we compare ourselves and we think light versus light is the way to go, we're going in the total opposite direction. Big Snake Bone, that's why there's different religions. The Four Horsemen plus Supreme Lord. Ooh, I wonder who the Four Horsemen are. I could tell you the truth, but you'd be scared. Hey, no. If you're ever scared of the truth, then you're scared of yourself. And when I was Islamic, I learned that Islam is self-mastery. So when you master yourself, when you master your mind, then there's no one or nothing in the world that can touch you. And that's a huge power of meditation. This is my japas. I use these to meditate and chant to. in our culture, we have to do, this is 108 beats. We have to do this 16 times, and that's equivalent to 2 hours. So it's a lot to step into self-mastery and, you know, stop beating up yourself, stop beating up others, and accept everything as it is. Torah BSS. Do you associate your belief with the mainstream religion canon? I feel like your relationship to religion could never be compared to anyone else's relationship. Well, that's everyone, honestly, and it's really beautiful when you have an open mind to accept everyone's consciousness. You know, we all have a different perspective of reality. 5 billion people have entirely different perspective of reality. Now, if you were closed off from all these perspectives of reality, you would not be one with yourself. But if you accept all of those billions of perspectives, you accept yourself to the max that God sees that you accept all of him because he's in all. It doesn't matter where the consciousness choose to form to. Like I choose to form to Hinduism, or I choose to form to Christianity, or I choose to form to being a Muslim. There's no separation. So accepting him as a supreme in all of the hearts that he created, it's so amazing. So amazing. Freedom of choice, yes. Beautiful indeed. Big Snake Bone. Algorithm never steers snake wrong. Thanks. Thanks, gang. I appreciate you. Frank Guler 6860. The biggest lie in the world is that the devil has convinced everyone that he does not exist. Agree? I think the Supreme is amazing. That I choose not to separate him. I think he throws, the Lord himself throws tests our way. And we choose to name him the devil. But I think he's so merciful that he's like, I want you to win. And this is me disguised as the devil. But I want you to pass this test. Now, if you lose this test, then I'm going to throw this test back at you again. But just know that I love you. And it's purely out of love because he just wants to see you win. So I don't call things the devil because then I'll be weak. And I'll see myself as a victim of the reality that is pure light, that is a consciousness that he made. So I'm not a weak person. I don't call things the devil. I don't call people devil because it's my test and I want to win. Taurus BSS, I feel like religion and a belief in a higher power comes from within. Yeah, I agree. At least in my own experience, God really lives within all of us, and it's up to each person to find him. Yeah, exactly. Frank A. Gular, 6860. Leaning to one's own understanding is very dangerous, and we should not leave to one. Well, I mean, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Kali Yuga is the age of darkness. And in the age of darkness, a lot of people will be eluded, which means a lot of people will be ignorant about the fact that we're all one. You know, God is light. When it's not light versus light versus light versus light, it's light versus dark. And when we start comparing and beating up each other, when the light starts beating up the light, it's so dangerous because now it's dark. So if a Christian person, and if a Christian person goes to a Hindu person and say that you're wrong, it's just like, that's darkness creating itself. And this is why we're in the age of Kali Yuga, because we're creating so much darkness to the most brightest light within us all. Nobody here is calling you weak. Did Frank Gular 686 said that? No, I just came from the gym. I'm a very strong person, and I don't mind stating the power that he gave me. He gave me strength since a young age. I used to hang out with my brother's friends, and I was very close to my dad, still close to my dad. So strength to me is something that even the Bible, you know, the Quran says this. I'm not gonna get this. You know, every sacred text mentions that strength is weakness and weakness is strength. When you notice both of these things, then you always have a goal in mind to become better, right? Like, we all want to become better. That's why if you did not subscribe to this channel yet, take the time to subscribe, because we all want to get better, and that's literally the goal of life. When you're stagnant, then hey, you're going to be surrounded by stagnant people. But me, myself, and the Lord, we rather keep elevating. Taurus BSS. One of the 10 commandments is to not take the Lord's name in vain, and that applies to the devil as well. Good on you. Oh, yeah, I mean, I just love, and this is just me coming from a monostat for years that forced me to serve him. And even when I didn't feel like serving him, I had to serve him. So it's very sacred to live in a temple and to live in a meditation center and just take yourself out of this world for just a little bit. You know, it can just be a year, it could be a few months, but when you fully dive into a whole different experience of the hustle, the bustle, the grind, you know, gotta make this bag, this money. When you get out of that just for a second, whoa, it's like your spirit comes alive, and it's like, feed me more instead of, you know, feeding this flesh and feeding the material world and focusing on money and focusing on all these material things that this body truly just does not care about. K Summit, hey friend, 6768. That's duality. One man's God is another man's devil. Yeah, so I got to a point in my practice that I don't even choose to see duality. I don't choose to see polarity, because that's illusion in itself, to see that there's any separation when good is evil and evil is good. There is no separation. But if you don't meditate, I would say, hey, if you want to get yourself some japas and choose to meditate, I choose to listen to the Hare Krishna mantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's just a mantra that opens your mind to a whole different realm, a whole different spectrum. It hits right into the heart chakra, and it cleanses all the impurities that we built up throughout so many years, so much ignorance because of what's been passed down onto us. That's duality. When you choose to let go of everything that has been passed down onto you from your future generation, it's like, you know what? No, I'm good. I want to step into me. When you make that choice, you fully win. You win the game. You won. As soon as you say, I choose me, I want to know me, without anything that has been passed down onto you. So religion is the main thing that's passed down onto us that truly separates us, because that creates you're right, you're wrong, when that doesn't exist. Franke Goulart 6860. Do you believe that God came to earth as Jesus Christ and was born in the Virgin Mary and was crucified under Pontius Pilate, suffered, died for our sins? You sound very Christian, my man. Good for you. Yeah, keep studying, keep going. I think that's amazing that your consciousness holds that beautiful light of philosophy. Now use that consciousness for good. Don't use that consciousness, I pray, don't use that consciousness to bash other people. That's how you win. That's how you elevate other people. That's how you tell his truth. We lose that aspect of love, of telling his truth. What you just said there, that's light. That people will fully feel and resonate when you speak the language of light. Now, when you speak the language of hatred, of bashing other people, that's the devil's language. because, and the word devil is very man-made word that I try not to use in vain, because sometimes the consciousness can't understand that it's just darkness. It's illusion. Darkness is illusion. Now, when you start bashing other people, you start ignoring who they are and their conscious reason of being here and their specter of life. Nobody here is bashing anybody. Hopefully you do not feel offended, and if you do, that is how you feel. My intentions are not to feel that way. Yes, Frank A. Goulart 6860. It's about edification, lifting each other. Yeah, it's all about lifting each other. Yeah, the lower self and a higher self. Exactly. The lower self is the one that's doing the bashing. The higher self is saying, get up here. Get up here with me. Get up here with me. And there's nothing else. It does not matter who you pray to. Get up here with me. That is how you uplift not just yourself, but the entire world. When we're in an age of darkness, you have to bring people up with you. Tell the truth and love and harmony and peace and collectiveness. Now, if you did not subscribe, take this time to Frank Goulart 6860. I know the levels that you speak of meditation. Can you astral project and leave your body? I think I unconsciously do every single day. When you're a monk, you kind of already left your body. You see everyone on a spirit soul level, where in a way you can see through people, because monks just have a higher consciousness. And it gets hard with my relationship sometimes, because people aren't aware that I have a higher consciousness to a point that I can see through them. And that's just being a monk in practice for so many years. And they start comparing themselves to a point you see that the mind is diluted. And yeah, so to answer your question, there is always a separation, because we're not this body. And when this body decays, you accept the process, and then you go back home with peace. There are many teachers on this planet. Still be careful. Not all have uplifting. Hey, identification agenda. Frank A. Goulart 6860 again. Who is your master or teachers? And do you have a lot of bad karma on you? Wow. So there's a part, I forgot what chapter it is in the Bhagavad Gita, that states that karma is something that we're birthed into, that it just sits within our soul, and it manifests itself when it's ready. So when something bad happens into your life, it's been sitting there within your heart for years until that time has come. And I like to chant so much because chanting the Hare Krishna mantra or any other mantra, or just praying, you can chant to Christ, you can chant to Allah, you can chant to anyone. That helps you remove all the negative karma that we built up for so many years. So my spiritual master is myself, but it's also the Supreme Lord. I like to give all credits to him. And in the Hindu temple that sector I attended, the spiritual master that we had was Srila Prabhupada. If you want to look him up, well, here's like one of his books, but it's currently in Korean. He came to America 70 years old, and he chose to spread on the teachings of Krishna. And helped liberate so many people in the 70s who were addicted to drugs, LSD, mushrooms, and truly people that just want to find themselves. And I feel like I was guided onto this path because I was also someone down that same realm trying to find myself, and I was just floating. I was floating in the ethers, and Krishna said, "You need to get out of that ethers because you're floating too high, and you need to come to Earth." So yeah, he transformed me into a monk in practice. K Simon 6768. Oh wait. Oh, conversation. Love this. Do you believe that Jesus is coming back to save anyone, or must all save ourselves? You cannot save yourselves. Only the blood of Jesus, the power in the blood. Mercy, grace, are things that are taught in the Bible. These things and know about your gifts. You have a co-inherence with Jesus, and you must learn your gifts. They are on. So Jesus is a realm. That's the third dimension. When you continue rising in dimensions, so I went from Jesus to Buddha. Buddha teaches you how to let go of the attachment of existence. And Jesus will guide you down that path too, if you choose to take that path. And from Buddha passed me on to Allah. And then Allah passed me down to Krishna. So these are all different dimensions that your consciousness can elevate to. Everyone on this plane is stuck in the third dimension and is stuck in the Jesus realm. And I understand that, but Jesus is so earthly that once you let go of the earthly realm, you see that there's higher realms that we can reach in life. That's why a lot of people are stuck in ignorance, because they're not aware that there's higher realms of dimensions that is here as well. And it's all within. You have the power. So I believe that we can save ourselves. And there's no one that we're waiting for, because it's within ourselves. It's like, imagine a dragon's coming at you. What are you going to do? Are you going to call on Jesus? Or are you going to fight that dragon? You know? So it's like the power is within you. It's like, why do we wait for someone to save us when he even says that God is within himself? It's within you. Hey, Tin Man, welcome back. Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, I speak only on the sacred text that I read. So in the Bhagavad Gita, ignorance is darkness, and Lord Shiva is someone who is the controller of darkness. He is the demigod, in other Hindu spectrums, the god of destruction. He destroys things when it's no longer for you. So if your brain is so caught up in illusion, darkness is the term ignorance, then he destroys that, so you can be more elevated to a higher realm. Ignorance isn't a bad thing, because children are ignorant. Children they don't know anything. So when they wake themselves up to a higher knowledge, then it's powerful. So always see yourself as a child, and then you will never see that the word ignorance is a bad word. It's so beautiful. So keep your mind open always. Amanda knows one God. Well, K Simon 6. Yes. Calling people stuck in ignorance is not spreading love. So you have to open your mind to higher consciousness. That's all. It's just, in the Bhagavad Gita, these are words that are used, and again, the word ignorant is beautiful. I think Googler 6860. That is hilarious. Do you get that? You guys are funny. That does matter. How many times was the word? Well, now I can see you're human. Do you see how you're stuck within you're human? You're stuck within your own emotions. You're stuck within your own consciousness that you aren't able to resonate anymore. So when we start pulling ourselves back because of disagreements, we're not able to see that, you know, at the same time we're also agreeing, because light is light. So when you understand a higher form of intelligence that someone displays, then it's just like, whoa, God is working, you know? A fool, it's a fool. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavatam, we use fool as well. And a fool is someone who chooses to walk the path of ignorance, where they see that God is like literally giving his hand out. Here you go. And it's just like, nope. That's ignorance, isn't it? Oh, I wonder how old you are. You sound like you're 12. You must be young. Okay, Simon, 6768. Yeah, I mean, that's all we have to do, is continue elevating. I have to give you permission in order to be offended, and I give no permission. Huh. Linguistically wise, those words, and semantically, I'm trying to understand. I have to give you, wait, how old are you? I have to give you permission in order. So our consciousness can, that's why it's 5 billion people on this planet, and we all have a different perspective. 5 different people will hear these exact words and all interpret them differently. So it's all about how we interpret the words of others is the hugest trick in life. Now, I would say get yourself some malas and meditate, do some chanting, and then it opens your eyes to the beauty of how there is no ignorance, there is no arguing, it's only peace, it's only love. And when you start collecting higher knowledge that there is ignorance in the world, then you stop fighting. This exact fight that you are creating within your world is ignorant, because there's no fight. Let go. Exactly. Continue elevating. Rise. You know, we get scared of rising, but hey, it's a blessing. That's what he wants. That's what he wants, truly. So, pray for you, your journey. You're here for a reason. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, subscribe. Stop running from yourself. We start going into a higher dimension of truth, and then it's like, run away. Don't do that. Like, it's peaceful. It gets even more peaceful. Then it gets even more peaceful. Then it gets even more peaceful. So you start accepting everyone, every thought, every truth, to a point, oh, I was wrong. I was ignorant. Once you can admit that you were wrong, how humble are you as his child to accept that you're wrong? Is greatness. And I feel like when people hear me sometimes, it gets really interesting, because they don't see how humble a monk could be, or humble I am, and how intelligent the Supreme is, that he provided this knowledge. Again, I'm going to give everything back to him, because nothing is mine. So, yeah, I accept. Okay, Simon 6768. Well, hey, you know, he's going through something right now that he actually needs words of encouragement, you know? So that's always encourage. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you can see someone's consciousness and you accept them and you open their mind instead of beating them up. Because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to see differences to where we have to beat each other up, where it's not even about that at all. But yeah, I just came from the gym and I had a great workout. Haribo, haribo. 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 When we chant, our mantra is chant and be happy. So we always try to be happy no matter what. Because in this age of darkness, in Kali Yuga, it's dark. And you have to continue elevating yourself to wake them up. We got. So, Frank, you woke up. Good boy. Good job. Keep coming back. Keep watching these videos. And then you will see that it's beyond you. It's beyond you. That's God's word, God's mercy. I think I want to sit here and, well, we have to read, right? So we have this book that we are reading, and it's called Tribes. We need you to lead us. Now, I think we left off on page 12. Why should you lead, and why now? So the more that you elevate your mind, the more you elevate your consciousness, the more that, hey, you become just a natural spiritual leader without even thinking about being a leader. This book weaves together a few big ideas which taken together form a irresistible argument. With tribes flourishing everywhere, there's a vast shortage of leaders. We need you. My thesis, for the first time ever, everyone in an organization, not just the boss, is expected to lead. The very structure of today workplace means that it's easier than ever to change things and that individuals have more leverage than ever before. The marketplace is rewarding organization and the individuals who changes things and create remarkable products and services. It's engaging, thrilling, profitable, and fun. This is why you should lead. That's why you should be a leader. Most of them, there is a tribe of fellow employees or customers or investors or believers or hobbyists or readers just waiting for you to connect them to one another and lead them where they want to go. Leadership isn't difficult, but you may have been trained for years to avoid it. So yeah, I'm kind of like really excited for his journey because he's stepping on a path of leadership. So the best thing is that you don't need to wait until you got exactly the right job or built the right organization or moved up 3 rings on the corporate ladder. You can start right now. Leadership is not management. It's the title that we're currently on. In a classic I Love Lucy episode, Lucy and Ethel are working on a candy assembly line. As the candies come faster and faster, the two of them panic, stuffing truffles in their mouths to keep up with the onslaught. I remember this episode. Do you remember it? They had a management problem. Management is about manipulating resources to get a known job done. Burger King franchises hire managers. They know exactly what they need to deliver, and they are given resources to do at a low cost. Managers manage a process they've seen before, and they react to the outside world, striving to make that process as fast, as cheap as possible. Leadership, on the other hand, is about creating change that you believe in. My thesaurus says that best synonym for leadership is management. Maybe that word used to fit, but no longer does. Movement have leaders, and movements make things happen. Leaders have followers. Managers have employees. Managers make widgets. Leaders make change. Change change is frightening. And to many people who would be leaders, it seems more of a threat than a promise. That's too bad, because the future belongs to our leaders, regardless of where they work or what they do. Next one is it's good to be king. In fact, in a stable world, to be king, lots of perks, not a lot of hassles. Kings have always worked to maintain stability because that's the best way to stay king. They traditionally surrounded themselves with a well-fed and well-paid court of supplicants, each of whom, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry, each of whom have vested interest in keeping things as they are. The monarchy has had a huge impact on the way we see the world. Kings taught us about power and about influence and about getting things done. A king assembles his own geographical based tribe and uses power to enforce compliance. From royalty, we learned how to build corporation, and from royalty, we learned how to build nonprofits and other organizations as well. Long live the king. Corporations are traditionally built around CEO, which all has its perks and powers. The closer you get to being king/CEO, the more influence and power you have. The goal of the corporation is to enrich the king and to keep him in power. And then recently something happened. Marketing changed everything. Marketing created a leverage. Marketing certainly changed the status quo. Most of all, marketing fed and energizes the tribe. If the tribe doesn't like the king, they're now free to leave. The changing status quo isn't such good news for the CEO, just as the changing face of welfare and politics wasn't good news for the crowned heads of Europe a century ago. Marketing is the act of telling stories about the things we make, stories and that sells and stories that spreads. Marketing elects presidents and marketing raises money for charity. Marketing also determines if the CEO stays or goes. Carly Fiorina learned this the hard way. Most of all, marketing influences markets. Marketing used to be about advertising. Advertising is expensive. Today, marketing is about engaging with the tribe, delivering products and services with stories that spread. Today, that market doesn't exist, doesn't want things to be. Today, that market doesn't want the same thing it wanted yesterday. Marketing, 100 years of incessant marketing, a lot of marketing, has drilled into us a thirst for what's new. And new isn't so stable, is it? Ooh. Okay, so the next one, stability is an illusion. Wow. Marketing changed the idea of stability. I'm fascinated with stability because being a nomad means I'm constantly on the go and I'm constantly traveling, and when you're always on the go, you know, we all crave a sense of stability and security and all these things that comes with being in a material body that we want to keep safe as long as possible. Stability is like the bones, and wanting to have that strong foundation that the bones will always be there, it will always be safe. So it's human nature. Exactly. We still assume the world is stable, still assume that Google would be #1 in 5 years, and we'll type on keyboards and fly on airplanes, that China will keep growing, and that the polar ice caps won't really be melted in 6 years. And we're wrong. We're wrong, because the dynamics of marketing and storytelling and the instant drum beats of its advertis yes, have taught us to be restless in the face of stability, and the internet just amplifies this lesson. No one watches a mediocre YouTube video they've seen before. No one passes on a boring email. No one invests in a stock that's boring, with few prospects for big growth. Yes. Here's what changed. Some people admire the new and the stylish far more than they respect the proven state of affairs. And more often than not, these fads focused early adopters are the people who buy and the people who talk. As a result, new ways of doing things, new jobs, new opportunities, and new phases become even ever more important. Marketing, the verb, changed the market. The market is now less impressed with average stuff for average people. The market is a lot less impressed with loud and flashy expensive advertising. Today the market once changed. Established 1906. Used to be important. Now apparently it's liability. The rush from stability is a huge opportunity for you. Partisans. It's a criticism when you throw the word at a politician, but all tribes are made up of partisan. The more partisans, the better. If you're a middle of the roader, you don't bother joining a tribe. Partisans want to make a difference. Partisans want something to happen and something else not to happen. Leaders lead when they take position, when they connect with their tribes, and when they help the tribe connect to itself. Making a ruckus. The old rule was simple. The best way to grow an organization was to be reliable and trusted by big gain market share. The enemy was rapid change because I think I'm gonna stop at the next one. Okay, I'll stop on 20. We're currently on 18. The enemy was rapid change because that led to uncertainty and to risk and to failure. People turned and ran. Oh, 1 second. Okay, 7, 6, 7, 6, 8. Hey, you're still here. I do believe that I could align with you, your ways of thinking. Do you wear glasses? Because you have beautiful eyes. When the student's ready, the teacher shall appear. So I want to learn more. I don't. Are you calling me a nerd? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I just like being funny. I used to wear glasses. I don't wear glasses. I used to wear glasses as a child. I don't anymore. I just like reading. I grew up reading. For punishment as children was to read books. So if you ever become a parent and you don't know how to discipline your child and you don't want to pass on generational curses, release them, then tell them to go read a book. Instead of throwing a phone in their face, tell them to go read a book. That's what my parents did. We couldn't even watch TV sometimes. We had to go read a book. Take a look at the top 50 charities on the Chronicle of Philanthropy top 400 charity lists. During the last 40 years, only a handful of charities on this list have changed. Why? Because donors didn't want to take risk. The business world has a long history of conservative tribes, a group of people who relishes the status quo. The big news is that this has changed. People yearn for change. They relish being part of a movement, and they talk about things that are remarkable, not boring. Take a look at the Yugo and Renault and the Sterling, manufactured by companies that decades ago tried to bring new ideas to the US car market and failed. Why? Because drivers then didn't want to buy a car that might disappear. What is, wait. I do believe. Do you feel like, well, a student and a teacher are one. So you're both. There's no separation of them as well. No duality, no polarity. New rule. If you want to grow, you need to find customers who are willing to join you or believe in you or donate to you or support you. And guess what? The only customers willing to do that are looking for something new. The growth comes from change and light and noise. The Tesla Roadsters is a $100,000 electric supercar built in Silicon Valley. Impossible to change, considered 30 years ago. Now it's sold out. The company has assembled a tribe, eager customers, cheerleaders, and vicarious fans. The Prius hybrid is a new car based on a 100-year-old technology that no domestic